What's up everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon, the crypto universe. Today's Friday, December 5th. Now in today's dog video, we're going to be talking about how the whales within the top 100 wallets have been accumulating the dip. So short-term holders, these are wallets that don't really hold dog for that long. It can last for a couple weeks, even for just a few months, are selling their positions. And who's buying those bags? Well, it's the whales. So this is what happens during a transfer of wealth. The 99% run for the hills, while the 1%, the sharks, the whales, they literally buy and eat the dip while there's blood in the market, while there's blood in the water. So we also want to address in this video this whole thing around Bitget. So you must be seeing maybe a specific post where dog margin trading is being removed from Bitget. But I'm going to go ahead and clarify and debunk why this is not bearish, when in fact it removes volatility that we see within the price of dog. And obviously going to be looking to charting analysis, is that if Bitcoin actually goes down in price, is that actually bad for dog Bitcoin? I'm going to share with you my perspective on that and why I actually think we also are not in a bear market. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. So right now, dog is hovering around 108 million market cap. Now it's down 6.3%, but let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin's price, because Bitcoin also took a fall, 3.72%. Just as of yesterday, we were roughly around 90 to 91,000. Now we're at 88,000. So that's significantly dropped, and obviously that's going to affect every other altcoin out there. You can even see over here that much of the market is in red over the past 24 hours. If we look at the meme coin sector, the same thing's in the meme coin sector. So let's look at Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is actually down 10%. SPX down 7%. Floki and also Dog Whiff Hat down 8 to 9%. Fartcoin down 8%, ApeCoin down 8%. We even have Brett, the number one meme coin on the base network, is down 15%. So we're gonna go and scroll down to where Dog Bitcoin is, down 5.86%, so not that bad. Still kind of hovering around Melania and Snack and Popcat, especially Popcat. Remember that? We talked about that yesterday. So Dog's not doing that bad. So let's move on to why the market liquidated. So right now, there is $100 billion just within the past 24 hours in liquidations. And obviously altcoins took a big hit. Now keep in mind, 5 days from now, we have the December rate cut, which could be 25 basis points. Now, as I mentioned before, if that does happen, it could actually be bearish as much as everybody may feel bullish. Because remember, the last two rate cuts in September and October were supposed to send the markets up, but really crypto market went down. And this is all because of leverage trading. But Wall Street people such as Tom Lee from Bitmine is still accumulating more Ethereum. So you have to understand that most of why Bitcoin has been propelled up from 64,000 to 124,000 just within a few months is because we have Wall Street coming in. We have hedge funds, institutions. So Tom Lee is part of the Wall Street crowd. And that's why you're seeing a lot of volatility of Bitcoin trading sideways and the crypto market trading sideways, because hedge funds, if they go from 1% exposure investment and they see a 3% increase, they're going to take profit. So that's why you're seeing it go back and forth. And the price going up and down within short time frames. But Tom Lee is still buying Ethereum, even though Ethereum to me is not really a big reward. But I mean, Tom Lee is betting on Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to lead the altcoin market. So that's really interesting who's buying the dip. Now, Coinbase Institutional shared the Coinbase 50 index. Now, in this, you want to understand which assets experienced the most downside from this pullback. And this was reported on November 30th. Now, notice that meme coins are in the negative of 19.84%. The reason I bring this up is because you have to understand how meme coins have actually taken a hard hit. It's not just dog, it's the entire meme coin sector. But as much as things drop in the meme coin sector, they actually can go back up just as fast and can even go up much more compared to where their losses are right now. So if it goes down 19%, these meme coins can go 100+% just within a week. That's how fast meme coins are. That's why people like meme coins, and meme coins aren't going anywhere. Now, here's the reason why I think that we're not in a bear market, even though I know that there are a lot of TA, aka technical analysis researchers out there on YouTube, on crypto Twitter, and you know their names, they're really well known. They're saying that this is going to be the bear market starting in December right now, and that this is possibly the beginning of a bear trend, because maybe October was the top, aka Bitcoin is at 124,000. But here's a few things I want to share with you. Remember, we saw for the very first time a new all-time high in Bitcoin's price before the 2024 halving. That was the first time we've ever seen that. Then in this image, you can see that the yearly candle, which are these candles right here, after 1.5 years after a halving, usually it's in green. So notice that every single time, a year and a half after Bitcoin halving, we're in green, but not here. We're in red. So that's the first time we've ever seen that. And also, altcoin season actually hasn't arrived. Yes, we experienced something roughly around end of 2017 and also roughly around 2021 when these altcoin season began, but we're not seeing one here. So this is also the first time that we've ever seen this. And I've shared these images with you before, like this one, where guess what? Whenever you saw the Bitcoin price go into new all-time highs, retail was in complete full control. But now, given the fact that after 2021's top, all the institutions, hedge funds, Wall Street family offices have more exposure to Bitcoin. So that's why Bitcoin's price ended up going back up, because we saw BlackRock, VanEck, you name it. They were pushing Bitcoin's price up. So retail isn't here just yet. Euphoria isn't here just yet. So this is why, because I shared with you these 4 images for the very first time that we've ever seen any of these different types of things, that maybe for the very first time we'll see something new where we're not in a 4-year cycle where things end in December. Let's see for the very first time an extended rally, an extended elongated cycle, and a new way of an altcoin season beginning that we've never seen before. Get ready for something new. Now let's go ahead and debunk this whole Bitget suspending margin trading for dog Bitcoin. Now a lot of you must be wondering, is this bad for dog Bitcoin? Well, I just want to share with you that margin trading is very different from spot trading. Now with margin trading, people borrow money, borrow funds to create these trades that they want. So the reason this is important is because much of the trading volume that you see on, say for instance, CoinMarketCap, like right over here, this trading volume, this also equates not just spot or futures, or aka perpetuals, but it's also keeping in mind margin trading. So in a way, this actually is very positive, and I'll tell you why. So basically, you're removing the speculative margin traders out there, which does kind of reduce the trading volume, but also it reduces the amount of volatility within dog's price. So actually removing margin trading from Bitget actually creates less volatility for dog's price going up or down. Even though Bitget is one of the top holders in spot trading, which they have over 4 billion tokens, this isn't actually negative because spot trading on Bitget is different from margin trading. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that this is clarified. Now remember, I mentioned that we were going to do a 20-day challenge as of today, which I will talk about in a little bit. But before we talk about that, it's because we want to garner the attention of Gemini. As you know, we want Gemini to list dog for spot trading. And one person down here, RSGO Great Again, said, is Gemini active? And Gemini says yes. Now I want to tell you something. Gemini is still engaging with the dog army. Now I've never seen any other exchange do this. And what am I talking about? Have you ever seen Gate.io, KuCoin, OKX, Binance, Binance.us, Crypto.com, even Coinbase do something like this? No. Gemini has actually been doing the exact same thing that Kraken's been doing, which is interacting with the dog army. Now for Gemini, I don't exactly know what's going on, meaning are they actually going to list dog anytime soon? Because when we submitted the application to their online portal, we haven't heard back from their team, meaning that they haven't talked to us about implementing the Rune's infrastructure the way that Kraken did. So what if Gemini is actually doing something with their own team to implement it on their own, or maybe not? What if they actually are just still trying to engage with the dog army, trying to figure out what they should do with dog? Should they list it for spot trading? Well, this is why it's important that Gemini is still interacting with us. But let's talk more about Gemini before we talk about this whole 20-day challenge. So yesterday, you saw that Gemini said, feel the ripple effect, and this is obviously talking about XRP. Now, you can see that Leonidas said, now try the dog effect. And what we want to do is convince Gemini to say dog, or just type in the ticker dog on their official account. Because guess what? It'll get more impressions and views. Even when I go over to Gemini to ask about that post about XRP Ripple, guess what? You can see clearly that the dog army is outweighing XRP's community because dog has more real organic members even to this day in a bear market. So if you're out there and you're a dog army member, you're actually making a change. You can even see that Grok down below is supporting and providing that data in real life and in real time. When you go over to to cookie.fun, you can see, thank you to Hova Beta for sharing this image, most of the mind share, most of the reach within Gemini's ecosystem is the dog army. You can see that Pixels over here, Dog Brazil, Selfmade, Simon, J-Dog, Jupe, Raphael, you, Hova Beta, and also myself. This continues to go on. So what we want to do is show Gemini, listen, if you just type in dog, you'll see what will happen. And this is why I shared this image, because look what happened when Kraken posted about dog on numerous occasions. From perpetual trading, 726,000 impressions just within that time frame. And then we had this whole swipe left, swipe right post, and that got 545,000 impressions. And then when dog went live, 200,000 impressions. You can see who let the dogs out, 130,000 impressions. And then we also have Kraken saying buy dog on Kraken with 89,000 impressions. And last but not least, when dog run P2 and overtook Bonk on the F1 challenge, we saw 144,000 impressions. That's what we want to show Gemini. And as I mentioned yesterday, we are starting the 20-day challenge as of today. So every single day, I'll be depositing 0.10 Bitcoin into Kraken every day that Gemini does not list dog for spot trading. So when they miss a day, that 0.10 Bitcoin is going right over to Kraken. And I did just exactly that. Now, who else is participating in this? Because I told you, the dog army, that this is mandatory. It does not need to be, $10,000. It could be $1. $10, $100 or more. Just the fact that you tag Gemini and let them know, hey, I'm buying this on Kraken when I could be buying it on your exchange. So let's see who's been doing that. So let's highlight that Keys over here, aka Bitcoin Keys, bought roughly $100 as of yesterday. And then we also have this person, David, who also bought 11,000 US dollars of USDC over to dog on Kraken. And then we also have this person, Frogman, that bought $500 on Kraken, tagged Gemini and said, hey, listen, we want to buy it onto your exchange, but it's not available. Then we have also Franz. Franz bought $10. So you don't have to buy that much. Just tagging Gemini and tagging them and letting them know that you bought dog on Kraken is the most important thing. And then last but not least, we also have Easy E, who bought $10 worth of dog on Kraken. So if you buy dog on Kraken and tag Gemini, please make sure to tag me and I will repost your post onto my X account, because I want to support what you're doing because you're supporting this cause. And this will eventually get Gemini to list dog at some certain point within the next 20 days, hopefully. So let's put that peer pressure on them. Let's make sure they don't forget to list dog. Okay, now let's move on to the whales that are accumulating dog Bitcoin during this dip. Now, thanks to BitMax, BitMax owns a website called Dog Data. Dog Data XYZ is a website that gives you all this data right here that you're seeing right in front of me, okay? So this is like traders, this is the amount of wallets, new holders, you name it. But the most important thing is this specific category. Top 100 whale wallet movements. Now, notice in the past 24 hours, look at wallet number 22. It accumulated roughly 109 million tokens. But overall, within these top 100, we saw 180 million dog tokens of net inflow. But let's go and zoom in just a little bit more, because shortly after that, we saw more whales buying. So thanks to Raphael for sharing this specific image. This is an update of the top 100 whale wallets. Now, as you can see, the total buys that we saw was 366 million. Total sells, 119 million. But the net accumulation overall, we saw 247 million dog tokens being accumulated. Now, as we mentioned, wallet number 22 did accumulate roughly 108 to 109 million dog tokens. But not only that, we saw that Gate.io, which is probably wallet number 2, accumulate 26 million tokens because we saw retail buying it. You notice that number 1 over here, that is Bitget. They ended up selling around 119 million tokens, mainly due to because maybe people that have accounts on there decided, I'm not sure what margin is, so I'm going to go ahead and take my profits or transfer out. But not only that, let's look at these other wallets. Wallet number 9 accumulated roughly 50 million tokens. Then down below, we see that wallet number 30 accumulated 74 million tokens. Then over here at wallet number 53, 54, 8 million each tokens. And last but not least, we have to go to wallet number 100 that accumulated 61 million tokens. So this is literally proof of how the 1% work. Remember, the 99% of retail tends to run for the hills, while the sharks and the whales, they hunt during blood in the water, blood in the markets. This is how the transfer of wealth works, because these people have long-term convictions and they know that the market cycle is not going to end. This is just the beginning, as I share with you the previous data points I've already shared with you in the previous slides. Now, overall, you can see that Dog Bitcoin's price is down roughly around 4.89%, but also Pudgy Penguins is down 8%, SPX is down 3%, Bonk is down 6%. I mean, the whole market is down. That's just the way it is. But here's the thing that I want to share with you is that because Bitcoin's price goes down does not mean that that's negative for Dog, and here's why. Now, when you compare Bitcoin and also Dog together, what do you notice? Every time that I see Bitcoin's price goes down, you can see that right now, roughly around here, Bitcoin's price was roughly 70,000 US dollars, right? So roughly 70,000, 67,000 US dollars. But if you notice, Dog Bitcoin hit 980 million market cap. Now, the reason this is important is because if Dog outperforms Bitcoin, then you can sell your Dog, put it back into Bitcoin whenever you want. So say for instance right here, Bitcoin is at roughly 69,000. Well, guess what? That means Bitcoin is at a cheaper price, so you can take those profits and put it back into Bitcoin. Well, over here, Bitcoin's price is at 101,000, but Dog was at 999 million, and you could still rotate those funds back into Bitcoin. The same thing can happen over here. I would actually hope that maybe in a bear case scenario, that Bitcoin's price goes down to around 70K again. It will actually allow Dog to flip Bitcoin and dominance, and that way, Dog will outperform Bitcoin, and you can rotate those profits back into Bitcoin when Bitcoin's at a cheaper price. Like an example, like right over here, Dog Bitcoin, when you rotated it, it was actually cheaper to buy Bitcoin with your Dog profits. But over here, it isn't so much because Bitcoin's at a higher price point. So you see what I'm saying here is that if Bitcoin's price goes down, this allows for like Dog Bitcoin to actually outperform Bitcoin, and you can rotate those profits into Bitcoin. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I get excited for only two things in this market, and that is Bitcoin and Dog, which are the only two things that I hold. Bitcoin is a revolutionary financial freedom type of token, and also the Dog token is a revolutionary free and fair movement token. Both of these builders, Leonidas and Satoshi Nakamoto, create these tokens to empower the people, not the elite. And this is the only reason why, even in bear markets, even in the most extreme fears of levels, I am still here advocating for Dog because I know it's worth fighting for and has the more upside than anything else. So there you go. That's my prognosis on how these top 100 whale wallets are accumulating from retail. They're doing it for a reason. I also share with you why I don't believe that this is the end of the 4-year cycle, when in fact I think it's still going on. I still think this cycle is going to continue into Q1 and Q2 of 2026. But keep in mind, the December 10th rate cut could actually be a bearish event. I don't know, but we just seen that happen in the last 2 rate cuts. But I would be happily surprised if it's quite the opposite, when in fact it could be a short squeeze. Everybody shorts the market because they think it's going down, and then all of a sudden we go back up in price. So that's just my personal thoughts and opinions. But here, I just shared with you what could happen with Dog being listed on Gemini. I want you to trade $1, $10, $100, whatever you can, every single day for the next 19 days, even today, so that we can convince Gemini to list Dog for spot trading. Because whatever happens with these other exchanges, Gemini and Kraken, being the 2 exchanges in the US, will be the leading factor for Coinbase and the other exchanges to list Dog. So let's go ahead and focus on Gemini the most, and that's why I want to share with you in this video. So go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog and Moon. Till then, see you guys girls Monday.